Hi. I'd like to share with you how I got into yoga. Um, I was living in Jamaica at the time, which is where I was raised since I was a baby. Um, and I just realized my cat's been marking up my computer. Um, yeah, right. How I got my start in yoga, I've already forgotten what my intention of this video was. Um, I was working at a resort that hosted a lot of fitness and wellness conferences and seminars, and yeah, they hosted a lot of group events, and most of their clientele was American. We got a lot from California, a lot from Idaho, a lot from north, sort of as well, north of America. And I was on the entertainment staff, and we were in this beautiful little cul-de-sac in Negril, Jamaica. It's gorgeous, beautiful cul-de-sac, and there was three hotels in this little cul-de-sac, huge, like huge. Think of a ship on land, huge, but with a lot more space. And I guess if you look out, you'll see a lot more space on a ship. Um, is gorgeous as well. I've worked on ships. It's nice. It's great when you're young. I think now I'd be claustrophobic and I would like have such panic attacks with so many people in such small quarters. I would. But when you're young, it's fun. Right. How I got my start in yoga. Stick to the point, Grace. Right. So I was working at this hotel. I think it's called Gran Lido at the time. And it was like the fancier of the three hotels. So it was a little bit more middle class clientele. Just adjacent from that hotel was the hedonism. Ooh. The name and my reaction will tell you what that hotel about. It's a hotel where as soon as you pass security, clothing is optional. It's one of those. Penthouse and Forum and Playboy would come and do their shoots there, their calendar shoots there. And they would also do videos as well. So, yeah. Okay, so that's that hotel. And then the hotel in the middle, which is further, a little bit further up, is more of a family-oriented hotel. So, yeah, always running around with kids, like 3 different pools, water slides, you name it. Right? It's a kids' family hotel. And the entertainment staff of these 3 hotels would sometimes kind of be picking up people's shifts. So, for instance, and because you lived at the hotel at the time, I don't know how it is now, but you know, living on those beautiful premises and being able to use all the restaurants were awesome. Um, and because you lived at the hotel, you were basically on call from like as early as 6 until I don't know. Sometimes I've worked. I don't know. I don't think Red Bull was a thing then, but yeah, you would be on call, especially when it's busy, or especially when they're having a lot of conferences. You would be on call a lot. Okay. Anywho, so you could wake up in the morning and you could host a finger painting nude. Body painting exercise, and then you go to the kids hotel and you will play bocce ball, and then you'll go to Lido Grand, I think it was Lido Grand, and host a piano sing along, right? So it was fun, and you know, when you're young you have the energy to do it. So my first yoga class, my very first yoga class was on a gazebo, or in a gazebo, I should say, on a cliff in this cul-de-sac. Beautiful tropic setting, as you can imagine. Beautiful, huge white gazebo. And I showed up late, and I knew the instructor, so she kind of gave me a look. And I kind of just try to like sit down into the pose, and the pose that they were doing at the time was the Hindu squat. It's the one where you're sitting on your heels, or sitting flat-footed really, and your toes turn out, and you lift your chest up, and you bring your hands in towards the center of your heart, and you pry your elbows out to pry your knees out to help that keep that torso coming forward. And I remember sitting into it because I had the flexibility, and but I just kept looking around at other people because it was so beautiful and tall, blonde and amazing, and they looked really calm, and so I was just trying to pretend to be calm, kind of thing. And the instructor gave me another look, and I just kind of but this was a loving look, you know, because he obviously seen that this is my like very first time. And I just started to accept the pose. I started to kind of close my eyes like everybody else and really try to feel the breath in the body, and I really try to listen and fully commit to what I was doing. And the tension that I was feeling immediately when I went into the pose and thinking, how long are we going to stay here? It sort of just disappeared with that breath, and it was awesome. Great, so that was my first pose that I can remember. Hi, Blue. My cat's coming in. Hey, baby. 1 of 4. Anywho, right, so that is my first class. A month later, I got the opportunity to take a course for free. Why? I guess there was one person that pulled out of the course, and so they offered to give one of their employees the spot. And my boss chose me, which is awesome because we didn't see eye to eye. Honestly, it's not her fault. I don't see eye to eye. I've always had a problem with authority, that's for sure. As much as I don't want to, and as much as I start out with respect and allure? I guess so. I guess that's a word. The allure of, you know, having someone who's creative and talented and in charge. That novelty always falls away from me very easily. Right, anyway, so, but she submitted me, which is amazing of her. And to this day, I still thank her. Yeah, because it really did change my life. It did. Right, so a month later, I was on this course, and I became obsessed. I did it every day. I did it every minute of the day that I could. And I tried to get my hands on as many DVDs and VHS and books and magazine as I could. And being at that hotel was perfect because everybody kind of just comes with their stuff and they're going like, oh, you want some? Sure. So I just kind of hoard as much information as I could. This was before I even know how to turn on a computer and before YouTube was a thing. So it was a long time ago. Yeah, and I became obsessed with it to the point where people started to complain. People started to complain that, you know, I wasn't hanging out anymore. I wasn't like into what I was doing anymore. Yeah, I basically was told I was alienating my life for yoga. I did it every second I could. It just gave me such a feeling of love and gratitude for my body and for my mind and who I was and blah blah blah. And at that stage, in many young people's life, I think I was 19 at the time, yeah, it just kind of gave me a sense of love for myself. And I had quite a traumatic childhood, and not in the way that it was bad. But it made me strong. It definitely left me with some scars that I'm still dealing with today, for sure. And dealing with as in my 20s, I'm naturally a bubbly person. And, you know, I just dreamt and daydream and I just always wanted to travel. I always wanted to get out of my space and explore all the spaces. And so I didn't have time to kind of sit and worry about my issues. I didn't have any issues really, not that I can think of. Yes, my love. Anywho, right, so, but yeah, as I get into my 30s now, going in my late 30s now, yeah, I can see things where I'm starting to alienate myself from certain aspects of living and life. To put it in a nutshell, if no one else existed unless I needed someone to exist, I'll be fine. I'm beginning to really, I've always loved solitude, you know, always, because for most of my life I really didn't have a choice, but I got comfortable with it. Just sometimes. So that's sort of what I'm dealing with in my own way. Okay, so my point, right, Jamaica. And then a month later, I started teaching. So my second actual yoga class was the one I taught. But I had the strength and the flexibility, and because I had spent about a month kind of reading and doing as much as humanly possible for myself at the time, I felt confident. I went in there, not cocky confident, but I know what I was doing. Yeah. So that's how I started in yoga. And then I kind of branched out into fitness as my life kind of called for it. And then I moved about in the Caribbean. I worked with Lee Body, and I'm going to name drop. The one I really am proud of, though, and on my deathbed, ideally, if I get the chance to approach death with some grace, pun intended, it's still going to be one of the things I'm proud of. I think I was in my prime, even though that's not great to say, because, you know, it would just say that you're not happy at the moment, and I am, but I look back at those days and it was just, I had everything I've ever wanted. Not that I'm lacking now, but it was a great time. It was a super great time. I was on one of the most beautiful islands in the Caribbean. I was working at the Ritz-Carlton. I was making shitloads of money. I had my apartment on the beach. I had my fancy car. I know, like, stuff, right? Just stuff. But I had a great relationships, and I had so much opportunity, and I was beautiful as well. Not that I'm that bad now, but I was fucking hot. Says the yoga instructor. Oh boy. Anyway, forgive me for the curse word. Right, so I'm going to end it there because I don't want to go off on another tangent. But I will say now, I am so grateful for the tools that I've learned through yoga. And if I had to choose one, it's awareness. It's self-awareness, and just knowing when you're off with your own emotions, and kind of knowing how to find your way back. Anyway, that's it. And I'd like to thank you if you listened. I don't know if it was at least helpful. Yeah, but that is my story. The censored version of it. Take care.